The galaxy had forgotten humans. It was not always like this. Long ago, humanity had been known for courage, innovation, and fierce independence. But betrayal had changed everything. The allied alien coalition that had once promised friendship had turned on Earth, leaving cities in ruins, fleets destroyed, and billions of lives lost. For decades, humans had vanished from galactic records. Many believed Earth itself had been erased, but humanity had not vanished. On the edges of the galaxy, scattered across hidden planets and isolated systems, humans had survived. They had endured harsh worlds, hostile environments, and the quiet weight of loss. Every hardship had strengthened them. Every betrayal had taught them patience. They were small in number, but they were not defeated. On a barren planet in the remote Zeta cluster, a human scout ship cut through the violet haze of the atmosphere. The ship, sleek and black, moved with silent precision, avoiding detection. Its pilot, Commander Arik Hale, studied the blinking holographic map in front of him. "This system is quiet," Arik said, his voice low, almost a whisper. "Too quiet." Behind him, Lieutenant Sarah Voss checked the ship's sensors. "Sensors are clean. No patrols, no drones, just emptiness," Arik nodded. "Perfect. That's what we need." The mission was simple on paper: reconnaissance. Observe the former Allied territories, collect data, and report back. But Arik knew it was more than that. Every trip like this reminded him of why humanity had survived. Every step forward was a step toward repayment. Centuries of suffering had given them one thing no alien empire could ever understand: determination. As the ship passed over the barren landscapes, the control room lit up with sudden motion on the scanners. "Wait, what is that?" Sarah pointed at a cluster of movement on the planet's surface. Arik leaned in. "Cloaked drones. Alien design. They're scanning for us." He pressed a button and the ship shifted into stealth mode. They glided silently, weaving through the canyon-like valleys undetected. Even in retreat, humans had learned to be invisible, yet always observant. "You think they suspect anything?" Sarah asked. "Not yet," Arik replied. "But they will." Humans had learned to fight in shadows before striking in light. And that was exactly what they were planning. Far across the galaxy, in the capital of the Terran Alliance, the coalition responsible for the betrayal, alien leaders celebrated their perceived victory. Holographic displays showed their territory sprawling across star systems, fleets numbering in the millions, and countless planets under their control. "Earth is a memory," said Chancellor Vryn, a tall reptilian figure with scales reflecting the bright hall lights. "They will never rise again. Humanity is gone," his generals nodded. They did not see the hidden colonies, the secret fleets being built in shadowed corners of the galaxy, planets where humans worked tirelessly to rebuild what had been stolen from them. Among them was Earth's greatest surviving engineer, Dr. Elena Kor. She was considered eccentric even by human standards. On a hidden moon orbiting a dying star, she oversaw the construction of what would become the human fleet of vengeance. Ships larger, faster, and smarter than any the galaxy had ever seen were being completed in silence. "Will it be ready?" a young officer asked nervously. Elena smiled, her eyes gleaming with quiet fire. "It will be ready, and when it is, the galaxy will remember what humans are capable of." Back on the scout ship, Arik and Sarah landed on a remote outpost to gather more data. The ground was scorched. The remains of old battles littered the plains. Alien machinery, rusted and abandoned, told the story of a world used as a testing ground. "This is what they think of us," Sarah muttered, picking her way through debris. "Just another planet to destroy, another species to erase." Arik clenched his fist. "They forgot one thing. Humans don't just survive. Humans fight back, and when we do, the universe will shake." They worked quickly, scanning the remains, collecting data, and marking positions for future operations. Every small victory, every piece of information, was a brick in the foundation of a future humans had long dreamed of, one where they would no longer hide. As night fell, the two humans camped in the shadows of a ruined alien tower. Above, the stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the suffering of humanity. But for the first time in decades, Arik felt a spark of hope. "They'll see us soon," he said softly. "And they'll wish they hadn't." Meanwhile, in hidden human colonies, councils met in secret chambers lit by soft blue lights. Leaders, scientists, soldiers, and strategists gathered, discussing plans that would change the course of galactic history. "We are underestimated," said General Caden Rise. a veteran of the last wars against the alien coalition. They think we are weak, scattered, defeated. That is their mistake. Our technology is beyond their expectations, our courage beyond their comprehension, and our unity. They cannot understand unity like ours. Others nodded, murmurs of agreement filling the chamber. They spoke not of revenge alone, but of justice, of proving to the galaxy that humans were a power not to be ignored. Elena Kor stepped forward, holding a holographic model of the first fully completed human dreadnought. The ship was massive, a testament to human engineering, bristling with weapons, shields, and systems that combined speed, intelligence, and resilience. "This is not just a ship," Elena said. "It is a message. Every system we liberate, every fleet we destroy, every alien that underestimates us, will learn that humanity cannot be crushed." Orcs' scout ship returned to its hidden human base carrying critical intelligence. The base was a sprawling facility carved into the heart of an asteroid, invisible to alien sensors. Hundreds of humans moved with purpose. Engineers, pilots, strategists, and soldiers all working in harmony. As the ship docked, Arik and Sarah were greeted by General Rise. "Good work," he said. "The data you collected will guide our first strikes. This is the moment we have waited for. Soon the galaxy will remember fear." Arik nodded. "It's time they learn who we really are." In the outer sectors, alien spies reported nothing unusual. In the hearts of empires, leaders slept comfortably, confident in their strength. They did not see the human fleets being completed, the colonies organizing, the young commanders preparing to lead their people into battle. But Arik and his team could feel it. The moment was coming. The moment when humanity would rise not as victims but as hunters. The moment when the universe would remember the humans it had once tried to erase. Every calculation, every preparation, every silent observation had led to this. And when the first human fleet launched, the galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. Arik stood on the command deck of his scout ship, looking out into the black void dotted with stars. He whispered to himself, a promise to all those who had suffered. The time for hiding is over. The time for fear is about to begin. The spark of vengeance had been lit, and across the galaxy the first signs of a storm were stirring, invisible but unstoppable. Humanity was coming. The galaxy had grown comfortable. Alien fleets patrolled their territories with confidence, their commanders smug in the belief that humanity was gone, a distant memory. They did not see the ships gathering in the shadows, hidden behind gas clouds and asteroid belts. They did not hear the quiet hum of engines and remote systems, where humans had rebuilt in secret. In the Zeta cluster, the human fleet was ready. It was small compared to the alien armadas, but every ship was a masterpiece of engineering. Sleek warships, fast and deadly, carried weapons designed to exploit weaknesses that alien tacticians thought impossible. Humans had not merely rebuilt, they had improved. They had learned from every battle, every betrayal, every loss. Commander Arik Hale stood on the bridge of the Intrepid Dawn, the flagship of the human fleet. Around him, crews moved with quiet precision. Every pilot, engineer, and soldier knew their role. They had trained for years in simulations that mirrored every known alien tactic, but they had also learned to think unpredictably, to strike where no one expected. "Status report," Arik said, his voice calm but firm. Lieutenant Sarah Voss checked the holographic display. "All systems operational. Fleet is in position. Enemy sensors show no anomalies." Arik nodded. "Good, they still don't see us. That will change very soon." Across the command deck, General Caden Rice addressed the fleet through the internal communication system. His voice carried authority, but also a quiet fire that inspired everyone listening. "Remember," he said, "this is not just a battle. It is a message. Humanity survived. Humanity endured. Humanity learned. Today the galaxy will remember fear." The human fleet moved silently, slipping past patrols and automated defenses. Their target was a minor but strategic planet, a supply hub for the alien coalition. It was lightly defended but heavily monitored. Taking it would not only provide resources but would send the first signal that humanity had returned. As the fleet approached, alien sensors finally detected the intruders. Alarms blared across the planet. Commanders scrambled, deploying fleets to intercept. "They've seen us," Arik said, gripping the console. "Now the fun begins." The human ships split into small squadrons, moving unpredictably. While alien fleets relied on formation and overwhelming numbers, humans exploited flexibility and speed. Orcs' squadron dove through asteroid fields, weaving around planets, striking at weak points with precision torpedoes and guided energy weapons. The aliens fired back, but their weapons were too slow, too predictable. One by one, their ships fell. Explosions lit the void, a silent testament to human skill and ingenuity. Lieutenant Sarah Voss shouted over the comms, excitement clear in her voice. "Auric, we've taken out their forward defenses." "No sign of reinforcements yet." "Good," Auric replied. "Keep moving. Hit their command center. Let them know we are here." Within hours, the humans had disabled the planet's orbital defenses and key communication nodes. Alien commanders were confused, unable to understand how such a small force could cause so much damage. Reports of explosions, destroyed ships, and sudden blackouts spread across their network. On the surface, human special forces had already begun landing operations. They moved with efficiency, disabling weapons emplacements and securing control points. The aliens had prepared for a large invasion force, not for teams that moved like shadows and struck with surgical precision. Aboard the intrepid Dawn, Auric watched the battle unfold on the holographic display. Every strike, every maneuver was executed perfectly. "They're learning fast," he said quietly, "faster than they think." Suddenly, sensors detected a new wave of enemy ships approaching from a nearby system. Alien reinforcements, larger and more powerful than the initial fleet. "They're trying to push us back," Sarah said. Auric smiled grimly. "Let them come. They'll find out why humans are never predictable." The human fleet adjusted formation not to retreat but to trap. Using the planet's gravity and asteroid belts as cover, they created ambush points. When the alien fleet entered the kill zones, energy beams, missiles, and torpedoes struck simultaneously from multiple directions. Confusion turned into panic. Ships collided or were destroyed, leaving the alien commanders scrambling to regroup. "This is impossible," a panicked alien captain shouted over the comms. "How are they?" "They are humans," one of his officers muttered. "They survived. They learned." Back on the ground, the human strike teams had taken control of key installations. Communications networks were broadcasting a single message across the system, in every known alien language. "Humanity has returned. The galaxy will remember fear." The impact was immediate. Planets under alien control began to tremble with uncertainty. Soldiers and civilians alike shared stories of the humans' precision, their boldness, and the speed with which they struck. Rumors spread faster than fleets could move. Humans, the galaxy had been told, were gone. Now they had returned and the universe was not ready. Meanwhile, Eric received reports from reconnaissance drones. Entire supply lines had been destroyed. Alien fleets had suffered massive losses. Even the surviving commanders hesitated, unsure how to respond to an enemy they had thought long defeated. General Rice addressed the human fleet again. "Today we send a message: never underestimate humanity. Today we remind the galaxy that survival is only the beginning. Action follows. Precision follows. Fear follows." The battle raged for hours. The alien coalition tried desperately to regain control, but every tactic they deployed had been anticipated by the humans. Even when a massive cruiser attempted to break through and strike the command ship, human pilots intercepted it, disabling its engines and leaving it adrift. On the bridge, Auric allowed himself a moment to breathe. He glanced at the stars through the viewport. For the first time in decades, the galaxy had felt a spark of fear, not panic, but the cold, growing awareness that humans were returning. "Mission accomplished?" Sarah asked, a note of pride in her voice. "Partially," Auric said. "The message is sent. But this is only the beginning. They will come for us now, stronger than before, and when they do, we will be ready." The human fleet withdrew from the planet's orbit, leaving the alien forces reeling. Small drones and scouts would continue to monitor, ensuring the humans' actions were felt across the galaxy without leaving their own forces overextended. In the capital of the alien coalition, panic began to spread. High-ranking officers argued over what had gone wrong. Reports of destroyed fleets and lost planets could not be ignored. For the first time, many began to question their superiority. Chancellor Vryn slammed a clawed hand on his console. How is this possible?" he growled. "Humanity was gone." "They were never gone," an advisor said quietly. They were waiting, and now, they are here. Back in human space, celebrations were quiet but meaningful. Pilots, engineers, and soldiers shared smiles and stories. They knew that the first strike had done more than win a battle. It had changed perception. Humans were no longer prey. They were predators, and the galaxy would never forget. Arik and Sarah walked the docks of the hidden human base. Ships were being repaired, refueled, and upgraded. The young commander looked up at the stars, feeling a mixture of pride and anticipation. "We've begun," he said softly, "but the real work is still ahead. The galaxy thinks it has faced humans before, but it has not seen the storm yet." Sarah nodded. "Then let's make sure they remember it." Above them, in the endless black of space, the first signals of fear began to ripple through the stars. Reports of the human strike traveled faster than any fleet could, whispering through communication networks and across planets. They have returned. Humanity is here, and the universe will remember fear. The first strike had been a warning, a test of strength, a spark. But it had also revealed a truth that no alien power could ignore. Humans had survived. Humans had learned. And humans had returned to the galaxy not just for survival, but to settle the score. The universe would never be the same again. The galaxy had begun to whisper. From the icy rings of the Alara system to the volcanic plains of Korath, alien fleets and colonies spoke in hushed tones about the humans. The first strike had been devastating, not merely for the damage it caused, but for the message it delivered. Humans were no longer prey, they were hunters. In the orbital command center of the Terek Alliance, panic spread like wildfire. Admiral Thalric paced the central chamber, claws tapping nervously on the metallic floor. Screens around him showed reports from across the sector. Supply hubs destroyed, patrols annihilated, and entire fleets disappearing without explanation. "They are ghosts," Thalric hissed. "How can a force so small cause so much destruction?" His second-in-command, a sharp-eyed officer named Vren, shook his head. "They are humans. We underestimated them. We assumed they were weak, but now, they are something else entirely." Thalric slammed a clawed hand on the table. "We must respond. Gather the fleet. Strike them before they spread further. We cannot allow fear to take hold." But the humans were already moving, unseen like shadows in the void. On the edges of a binary star system, Commander Arik Hale's fleet waited. They were small in number, but each ship was fast, deadly, and equipped with technology designed to counter the aliens' largest vessels. Human engineers had anticipated every predictable move, but they had also built in the unpredictability that the aliens could never calculate. Scouts report multiple fleets converging from 3 sectors, Lieutenant Sarah Voss said, scanning the holographic displays. "They're trying to contain us," Arik nodded. "Let them come. They'll find the shadows are not empty." Humans did not rely solely on firepower. They used speed, stealth, and deception to make their enemies believe they were facing a larger force than reality. Small strike teams disabled supply lines, sabotaged ships before they could launch, and planted false signals to confuse alien strategists. On one barren moon, a human demolition team moved silently through the remains of a deserted alien outpost. The aliens had long ago abandoned it, leaving only defensive structures and automated systems. The team worked quickly, planting charges to collapse key structures. "This will cripple their communications for months," said Sergeant Lila Chen, adjusting her visor. "They'll be trying to figure out who did this while we're already gone." "Exactly," replied Lieutenant Jace Mora. "Fear spreads faster than fleets. Let's make sure they feel it." Alien leaders tried to respond with overwhelming force. Massive cruisers and destroyers moved into strategic systems, hoping to corner the humans. But every approach was anticipated and countered. Humans appeared in multiple sectors simultaneously, striking from directions no one expected. It was not just technology that gave humans an edge. It was ingenuity. One human squadron used a dense asteroid belt to mask their approach. Another used a network of moon-sized satellites to create false radar signals. The aliens could not predict attacks that came from above, below, or behind. In one decisive encounter, a fleet of human ships lured an alien destroyer into a canyon of debris around a dying star. The humans feigned retreat, and when the alien pursued, energy beams struck from hidden angles. Explosions erupted across the alien hull, leaving the massive ship crippled and adrift. On board the human command ship, Arik allowed himself a small smile. They're learning to fear us, he said quietly. Sarah shook her head, disbelief in her voice. Fear? They won't believe it until it's too late. They still think humans can be crushed. That's their mistake, Arik replied. It always is. Meanwhile, across liberated systems, alien colonies whispered stories of human victories. Entire fleets destroyed by smaller human groups. Supply lines wiped out before anyone noticed. Commanders humiliated in battles they thought were won before they began. Even the oppressed alien races began to take notice. Many had suffered under the rule of the Terek Alliance for centuries. Now they watched humans strike with courage and precision, and they began to wonder if perhaps liberation was possible. On a distant jungle world, a delegation of alien survivors met with human representatives. They spoke in cautious tones, aware that trust had been broken too many times in the past. "We have watched your actions," said one alien elder, tentacles twitching nervously. "Your strikes. They are unlike anything we have seen. You fight not like a single species, but like a force of nature." Arik replied, calm but firm. "We fight to survive, yes. But we also fight so that no one will ever underestimate humans again. If your people wish to join us, we can work together. If not, you may continue to live under fear. But it is a choice we hope no one will make." The delegation hesitated, then nodded. Even the smallest gestures of human courage were inspiring. Back in the Terek Alliance Command Center, chaos grew. Reports of human strikes in systems far apart arrived simultaneously. Commanders struggled to coordinate, unsure where to concentrate their forces. Panic spread among those who had grown accustomed to dominance. "They're everywhere," cried an officer. "How can this be? How do they know where we will be?" "They do not just know," Thalric said, his voice low and dangerous. "They anticipate. They adapt. They are different." The realization hit the leadership hard. These were not humans of the past, easily crushed and ignored. These were humans who had endured devastation, learned from it, and become a threat the galaxy could not ignore. On the intrepid dawn, Arik received a transmission from General Rice. The message was simple, yet carried immense weight. "Continue the campaign. Every system liberated, every fleet disabled, every act of courage strengthens the human's position. The galaxy must remember that we are not to be underestimated. Proceed with caution, but proceed relentlessly." Arik looked at Sarah, who gave a small nod. "We're ready," she said. They moved to the next system, where intelligence suggested another minor fleet hub. Humans had learned to strike not for glory but for maximum strategic impact. Every mission was calculated yet executed with unpredictability. As the fleet entered orbit, human scouts detected enemy movements. Drones reported ships preparing to launch, unaware that the humans had already positioned ambushes. Energy pulses, electromagnetic traps, and coordinated strikes disabled half of the enemy fleet before they could even leave orbit. On the surface, human strike teams infiltrated command centers, not to destroy indiscriminately, but to disable, confuse, and demoralize. Alien commanders who had once dismissed humanity now faced the reality that their overconfidence had been their greatest weakness. "They are organized," an alien officer muttered, barely able to comprehend what he saw, "and ruthless in precision. But they are human." "Yes," Thalric said grimly. "Humans are dangerous. And now they are everywhere. We underestimated them, and we will pay." As the days passed, humanity's legend grew. Tales of daring raids, precision strikes, and impossible victories spread faster than any fleet could travel. Across liberated systems, humans were celebrated not just as warriors, but as symbols of courage, ingenuity, and resilience. On the hidden human base, Arik stood overlooking the docked ships. Crews were preparing for the next operation, repairing, upgrading, and training relentlessly. Every mission built not just experience, but confidence. Humans knew the galaxy would respond eventually with full force, but they also knew they were ready. "We've shown them a spark," Arik said quietly. "But soon, the flame will burn brighter. They'll try to strike back, but by then we'll be waiting." Sarah smiled. "They'll remember us. But will they survive that realization?" Arik looked at the stars, steady and unbroken.
"Some will, but many will not."
Humanity has returned, and fear follows wherever we go. Across the galaxy, alien leaders began to whisper the same word in fear, dread, and disbelief. Humans. The shadow of fear had begun. The first strike was only the beginning. Across systems, fleets, and colonies, the galaxy would feel the presence of humanity not as a lost species, but as a force that had endured, learned, and returned, and the universe would never again take humans lightly. The galaxy was on edge. Across countless star systems, alien commanders whispered the same fearful word: humans. The first strikes had been devastating, but now humanity was ready for the next step. They would no longer strike in shadow. They would confront the Central Alien Coalition directly. Commander Arik Hale stood on the bridge of the intrepid Dawn, eyes fixed on the holographic map of the Terran Alliance's core territory. Hundreds of enemy fleets, millions of soldiers, and countless fortified planets lay ahead. The odds were immense, yet Arik felt no fear. "This is it," he said quietly, "the heart of the Empire. Everything we've trained for, planned for, and survived leads to this moment." Lieutenant Sarah Voss adjusted her visor, scanning the data streams. "Their defenses are massive but outdated. They expect us to act like we always did, small, scattered strikes. They won't see this coming." General Caden Rice's voice echoed through the fleet comms. "All units, prepare for coordinated assault. This is the decisive campaign. We liberate systems, destroy enemy fleets, and prove once and for all that humanity cannot be defeated." The first stage of the operation focused on crippling the Terran Alliance's outer defenses. Human strike teams infiltrated key orbital platforms, disabling planetary shields and communications nodes. Their precision was surgical. Entire fleets found themselves isolated without warning. Alien commanders scrambled to respond, but the humans had already predicted their moves. In the Oralis system, Arik's fleet engaged an enemy fleet nearly 3 times their size. Using asteroid belts, moon shadows, and sudden bursts of speed, humans struck with coordinated attacks from multiple angles. Massive energy beams pierced enemy hulls. Torpedoes disabled engines, leaving ships drifting helplessly. "It's chaos," a panicked alien officer reported. "They appear from everywhere at once." "They are not everywhere," another whispered. "They are humans." For Arik, this was the moment where strategy met courage. Every human ship operated with flexibility, adapting instantly to alien maneuvers. Small squadrons executed decoy attacks, drawing enemy fire while the main fleet targeted vital systems. Even when facing larger ships, humans used ingenuity to turn size into weakness. On the ground, human strike teams moved swiftly to secure strategic planets. They did not destroy indiscriminately. Instead, they liberated, disabling key infrastructure and turning enemy resources against them. In one daring operation, Sergeant Lila Chen led her team into a heavily fortified Terrak control center. Using advanced stealth suits, they bypassed sensors and security systems. Once inside, they hacked the central AI, turning it against the alien soldiers stationed there. Doors locked, communications were jammed, and defense turrets were redirected. Within minutes, the control center was in human hands. "This is how humans fight," Chen said calmly into her comms. "Precision, intelligence, and speed. Remember it." The success of such missions sent a ripple of panic through the Terran Alliance. Alien leaders had assumed humanity would attack randomly, strike and retreat. But now humans struck with purpose, hitting the core systems that maintained the Empire's control. As the human fleet advanced, alien propaganda faltered. Citizens across the Empire began questioning their leaders. Reports of human victories were impossible to ignore. Entire planets whispered about the humans' courage and ingenuity, wondering if the species they had once dismissed as weak could now topple their rulers. On a remote water world, an alien family huddled by a communications console, listening to intercepted broadcasts. "They are." "Amazing," the mother said. "They strike and everything changes. They do not destroy without thought. They fight for a purpose." Her child looked up, eyes wide. "Do you think they can win?" "I do not know," she admitted. "But we can no longer ignore them. Humanity is not what we were told." Meanwhile, in the Terran Alliance capital, panic reached its peak. Chancellor Vryn paced across the command chamber, claws clenching. "How is this possible?" he growled. "Humanity was defeated decades ago." Advisors tried to calm him, but the evidence was undeniable. Entire fleets had been destroyed. Outer systems were in human hands. Communication networks were compromised. And worst of all, humans were not retreating, they were advancing. "They are everywhere," muttered one officer. "They strike with purpose. They anticipate. They adapt. This is no ordinary force. Vryn slammed his claw against the console. Then we must strike them before they reach the core. We cannot allow fear to spread further. But fear had already spread. Even his most loyal commanders questioned their strategies. No plan seemed sufficient against an enemy that combined technology, strategy, and relentless courage. Back in the human fleet, Arik received reports from liberated systems. Supply lines disrupted, enemy morale collapsing, and civilians beginning to rise against Terrak forces. The humans' reputation was spreading faster than their fleets. General Rice addressed the fleet once more. Remember, humans fight not just with weapons, but with courage and intelligence. Each strike should inspire our allies, demoralize our enemies, and leave no doubt that we are unstoppable. Move forward. No hesitation, no fear. Arik's fleet continued their advance. They faced the core of the Terrak fleet in the Alara Nebula, a dense cloud of cosmic gas that alien commanders had assumed would be impossible for humans to navigate. Yet humans moved through it with ease, using the nebula as cover for coordinated strikes. In a massive engagement, human ships struck from multiple vectors. The enemy's central command cruiser, nearly 10 times the size of the largest human ship, fired relentlessly. But humans had anticipated this. Energy deflectors, rapid maneuvers, and precise targeting allowed smaller ships to disable the cruiser's weapon arrays. Within hours, the massive vessel was drifting, incapacitated, a symbol of Terrak arrogance. On the ground, human strike teams liberated cities across several planets simultaneously. Alien forces had assumed humans could only strike one location at a time. Now, coordinated operations demonstrated human capability on a scale that the galaxy had never seen. Lieutenant Jace Mora stood on the surface of a freed city, looking at alien soldiers surrendering. "They underestimated us," he said. "They thought we would hide. They thought we would retreat. But we fight where we must, when we must." Nearby, Sergeant Chen nodded. "And they will never forget it." The impact of the human offensive was immediate. Across the galaxy, reports of victories and liberated systems created uncertainty among Terrak forces. Even those loyal to the Empire began to question their leader's judgment. Could a species they dismissed long ago truly threaten the core of their empire? Chancellor Vryn, cornered in his capital, realized the truth. Humans were no longer hiding. They were confronting the central power directly. Every system taken, every fleet destroyed was a strike not just at his empire, but at the very idea that humans could be controlled. "They are not just surviving," Vryn muttered to himself. "They are evolving. They are unstoppable." As the human fleet prepared for the next wave, Arik stood on the bridge of the intrepid Dawn, watching the stars stretch endlessly before him. "The galaxy sees us now," he said softly. "They know we are not the species they thought they could crush." Sarah joined him, gazing out at the expanse. "Do you think they will ever stop fearing us?" Arik shook his head. "No, they never will. Not after today. They will learn that humans endure, humans adapt, and humans fight with courage that cannot be measured. Today we did not just win battles, we showed the universe who we are." The shadow of fear had grown into a storm. Across systems, planets, and fleets, alien forces faced a truth they had long ignored. Humanity was no longer a memory. Humanity was here. Humanity was unstoppable. And when humans finally struck at the heart of the Terrak Alliance, the galaxy would remember the full weight of their power. And the lesson would be unforgettable. The heart of the Terrak Alliance had never faced anything like this. Across countless star systems, alien commanders whispered in disbelief. Human fleets had struck from shadows, from nebulae, from asteroid belts, everywhere and nowhere. Now they advanced on the central worlds of the Empire, where billions of lives, massive fleets, and crucial resources awaited. Commander Arik Hale stood on the bridge of the intrepid Dawn, eyes scanning the galaxy ahead. This was it, the moment humanity had waited for decades. The moment when their skill, courage, and determination would collide with the full might of the Empire that had betrayed them. General Caden Rice's voice resonated through the comms. "All units, this is the decisive strike. Today we liberate, today we fight, and today we remind the galaxy why humanity survives. Move forward. No hesitation. No mercy for complacency. Humanity leads." Arik took a deep breath. "Prepare all ships. Synchronize weapon systems. Launch drones. This is going to be the fight that echoes across the stars." The first wave struck the orbital defenses of the Terrak capital planet, Vryn Prime. Human ships darted between massive satellites, weaving through laser fire and missile barrages. The aliens had prepared for a fleet invasion, but they had never encountered humans capable of adapting instantly, striking with precision, and using their environment against them. Lieutenant Sarah Voss shouted over the comms. "They're trying to focus on us, but the drones are disrupting their targeting arrays. Shields are down on half their defensive stations." Arik nodded. "Hit the main command hub next. Disable communications completely. Let them feel the power of humans in control." With coordinated strikes, human ships breached orbital defenses. Energy pulses disabled massive cannons. Torpedoes ripped through power cores. Drones infiltrated and sabotaged systems that alien engineers assumed were invincible. Within hours, Vryn Prime's orbit was under human control. On the surface, human strike teams moved swiftly, liberating cities and key facilities. The Terrak soldiers fought fiercely, but humans had learned to exploit every weakness. They attacked with intelligence, not just firepower, and turned alien technology against its owners. Sergeant Lila Chen led a team through the capital city. Skyscrapers of shimmering metal reflected the explosions overhead. Automated defense turrets, once deadly, now obeyed human commands. Citizens and oppressed alien races watched in awe as humans dismantled the Empire's control point by point. "Every system we liberate," Chen said calmly, "is a signal. The Terrak can no longer hide behind fear. Humanity is here to stay." Lieutenant Jace Mora nodded, observing the surrendering alien soldiers. "They thought fear would keep us away. They thought chaos would stop us, but they underestimated human resolve." Meanwhile, in the central Terrak command chamber, Chancellor Vryn realized the truth. Humanity was not retreating. Humanity was not negotiating. Humanity was dismantling everything the Empire had built. "They are everywhere," Vryn growled, claws clenched. How can such a small force achieve this?" One of his advisors trembled. "They are humans, sir. They have survived what no other species could. They fight with courage, intelligence, and unity, qualities we cannot anticipate." Vryn's eyes narrowed. "Then we must destroy them. No mercy, no compromise. Humanity must pay for daring to return." But even as he spoke, reports arrived. Fleets destroyed, planets liberated, communication lines severed. The Empire's control crumbled faster than any leader could respond. Fear had already taken root. In space, Arik's fleet prepared for the final push. Human dreadnoughts moved into position, blocking the escape routes for Terrak forces. Smaller, faster ships struck at vulnerable points, while drones and sabotage teams disabled weapons and engines. Every human ship knew its role. Every pilot executed maneuvers with precision. "Target the central fleet," Arik ordered. "We hit them at once, and we do not stop until the Empire falls." Alien commanders scrambled. Massive cruisers fired in unison, attempting to crush the human fleet. But humans had anticipated their patterns. Shields deflected beams and torpedoes crippled the largest ships. Smaller human squadrons attacked from unexpected angles, disabling engines and taking control of key systems. Panic spread quickly among the Terrak fleets. "They are too coordinated," shouted an alien captain. "Impossible. How can they adapt so fast?" "They are humans," another muttered. "They survived everything, and now they fight as one." On Vryn Prime, the final Terrak defensive forces prepared for last-ditch resistance. Soldiers gathered in fortified positions, hoping sheer numbers could stop the human advance. But humans struck with precision. Arik watched from the intrepid dawn as human strike teams moved across the planet, liberating key positions. Automated systems once controlled by the Terrak were turned against them. Communication arrays broadcast surrender messages across the planet, encouraging soldiers to lay down arms. "This is the end," Arik said quietly, not just for them, but for the fear they thought would control the galaxy. By nightfall, the human fleet had neutralized the core defenses. Vryn Prime was under human control. Alien forces that had once seemed invincible were defeated or surrendering. Citizens across liberated systems cheered, signaling the start of a new era. Even the Terrak leaders had begun to understand the truth. Humans were no longer to be underestimated. They were not just survivors. They were a force that had endured, learned and returned stronger than anyone imagined. Chancellor Vryn, realizing defeat was inevitable, ordered a retreat, but the humans had anticipated this. Escape routes were blocked. Fleets attempting to flee were captured or destroyed. Humanity had calculated every possible move, leaving the Terrac with no choice but surrender. In the human command center, Arik allowed himself a moment to breathe. Around him, his officers and crews celebrated quietly. They had not only won a war, they had sent a message to the entire galaxy. Humanity had survived. Humanity had returned. And the universe would never forget. General Rice addressed the fleet. Today, we have not merely destroyed fleets or liberated planets. We have reminded the galaxy that humans endure. We fight not only for ourselves, but for every species that has been oppressed, underestimated, or ignored. Today, fear has returned to those who thought themselves untouchable. Today, humanity leads. In liberated systems, humans helped restore order, not as tyrants, but as protectors. Alien civilizations that had suffered under Terrac control began rebuilding, inspired by the courage and determination of humanity. Humans shared knowledge, technology, and strategies, ensuring that no empire could rise unchecked again. On a distant ocean world, a group of alien civilians watched the celebrations. "They are remarkable," said one. "They fought not just for themselves, but for everyone." "They are humans," yes, another agreed. "And now the universe will never forget them." Back on the intrepid Dawn, Arik stood at the command deck gazing at the stars. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had changed it. The fear that had once been absent from alien hearts was now present, a quiet but enduring reminder of human resilience. Sarah joined him. "Do you think they'll ever stop fearing us?" she asked. Arik shook his head. "No, not after this. They will remember that humans endure, humans adapt, and humans fight with courage that cannot be broken. Fear is the lesson we leave behind, not because we wish harm, but because it is the truth. Humanity will never be underestimated again." The universe had learned. Humanity had returned not merely to survive, but to lead, to protect, and to remind the galaxy that no betrayal, no empire, no force could crush the spirit of a species that refused to surrender. And in every corner of the stars, the whispers began anew. Humans. They are back. And the universe remembers fear.